Hey Valencia family, it is me, Denasia Harry, from the Osceola campus with student development. As you guys saw, there was a little bit of technical difficulties, but that does not mean Juneteenth will not be celebrated. We are still celebrating Juneteenth, and we're going to still give you a conversation about what it is and how it should be celebrated. And of course, Amanda, the stage is yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda, and I will also be here as well, helping Donasia and our wonderful guest to talk about Juneteenth and how we should celebrate it. And I just hope that we're able to get through an awesome conversation and, of course, promote the education of Juneteenth.
Awesome. I'll take it from here, guys. My name is Professor D. I teach English on the West Campus, and I've been with Valencia for about 4 years now. So, apologize for the lie. We're not sure what was going on there, but let me go ahead and get into the quick history of Juneteenth for those who didn't hear me on the live. So, what Juneteenth is, the way we celebrate, the day we celebrate, June 19th, was the last state was Texas, and they were told about the Emancipation Proclamation, June 19th, 1865. General Gordon Granger let everyone know Florida wasn't that far ahead of them. We didn't get our emancipation, message until May 20th, 1865, which was still about 2.5 years after the slaves were actually free. So we're not in the clear, Florida. You know, Florida does what Florida does. So currently, I was talking in the other recording, we don't celebrate it as much as we used to. From 1866 to the 19 teens, it was celebrated very widely. After World War I, it picked up again 1936 to 1951. And then we had the Civil Rights Movement, and a lot of talk of Juneteenth pretty much wasn't as big as it is now. Texas still does celebrate. It is a national holiday there. But hopefully this year we can revive that spirit of Juneteenth. Currently, I feel as though a lot of Black communities have integrated Juneteenth celebrations in the way they do life in general. One of the things I was telling Denasia on the live is that I didn't know that growing up, whenever we do watch night, it is actually a celebration of from December 31st, 1862, going into January 1st, 1863, us waiting for the Emancipation Proclamation to be signed and for us to be officially free. And so a lot of Black churches still celebrate that for Watch Night. And I know I grew up celebrating. I had no idea what it was until I asked some of my white friends who are Pentecostal if they celebrate it. And they were like, what is a Watch Night? I was like, it is the best party you'll ever have at your church. And all the churches come together to celebrate. So that's how we do it now. As well, for the summer, most Black families have a family reunion either every year or every other year. And it's typically between the late May to early to mid-August months. So it still kind of goes into that Juneteenth timeline where we're partying and celebrating everything it means to be family, to be free, and to enjoy each other. So although Juneteenth is not traditionally taught, I want to say in a lot of places, it's definitely celebrated as just a regular part of Black culture now.
So you kind of hit the nail on what's the importance of Juneteenth. Basically, this is a very important day that the slaves were free and we can move on from slavery. No more bondage or anything like that. So I do want to ask you this question. What is the most crucial lesson that we should take from Juneteenth?
With our modern climate and the way everything's going, I think the most crucial thing to take for Juneteenth is where we were to where we are and keeping in mind where we're going. And that's why I think this Juneteenth is going to be a big one because of everything going on. This is the day for us. Our protest is our joy, right? As we celebrate and as we kind of get back with, even with our allies, please don't think just because you're an ally, you are not invited to the party. You're invited to this party. This is a party for us all to celebrate how far we've come and to also keep in mind how far we still have left to go.
We have some ways to go, but I feel like during these times, we can only go higher.
Exactly.
We can only do so much, and we can only do what's best. Mm-hmm. And like Puff Daddy, who's now Diddy, says, in order to change the world, we have to change ourselves. Exactly. So I feel like we're gonna do it. We're gonna make history.
I think the beautiful thing about this moment is that it's not just our race. We are all coming together as a society, and we're very much aware of everything going on. So in that sense, the pandemic allowed the world to stop long enough to say, hey, we're missing something. Let's join in this fight. And so that has been one of the most beautiful things. It's just not one person or one group fighting. We're all doing this together. So I have been enjoying that kinship during this process.
And if you see, like, all 50 states, including countries, are protesting right now, and that's amazing.
It's good to see that other countries are protesting with us. I know I saw Germany, and I want to say it was like New Zealand, like literally all over the world, because number one, I don't think we realized that when the boat stopped, they stopped in more than just America. And a lot of, as time has went on, a lot of us are traveling, we're expats, so we're living in different countries. And so there is a lot happening, but we're everywhere. And so to see literally the entire world fight with us, stand with us, that's how you know something big is happening.
Big is happening. Absolutely. All right. So next question. Has anyone ever taught you about Juneteenth? And do you believe that the history of Juneteenth should be taught in schools?
The history of Juneteenth should definitely be taught in schools. And I'm going back as far as I can. Honestly, no, I don't think anyone taught me about it. I heard it. And when I started doing more things, number one, within the Black church, and then again, when I came to Orlando, that's when, I'm older. So when I grew up, Google wasn't a thing. So let's just throw that out there. But when I came to the Orlando area and I saw a lot of people talking about Juneteenth celebrations, I looked it up. And I actually have members in my family that do Juneteenth celebrations with other people and other organizations. So I was never taught it at all, which is how we know for a fact it should be taught in school. We are taught about the Emancipation Proclamation, but that's sort of like where the history, we hear nothing, and then Civil Rights Movement. It's like those two things happen the next day, and we're missing out on all of the celebratory parts of the Black history, because we want to get to those same 5 people that we talk about every Black History Month. So,
Amanda, didn't I not just say that?
So
I said on the live, I said, why do we, yes, they were great people. Martin Luther King, they were great. Thank you for doing it. But do y'all know who some people are? Like, do you know who Claudette Colvin is? Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know.
And that's the thing, is that there was so much history, before MLK Jr., shout out to him, and there's so much history being made after him. And, every day we're making Black history, and I don't think we realize that or we highlight that enough. Every day we're making Black history. So
that's why I don't believe, yes, I do believe in Black History Month, yes, but I celebrate that every day, 365 days a year, because we still have so much to go, and we're doing it the right way. So,
exactly.
Yes.
Amanda, you're on mute. Come join the conversation.
I know. I honestly thought I was unmuted, but I, just talking to myself. But my mom's like a history junkie, so whenever it comes to American history, we're really in on it. But when it comes to looking at from the Emancipation Proclamation all the way to, of course, the Civil Rights Movement, there's like a lost age in history there.
Exactly.
We don't know what necessarily happened there. And I'm 1,000% sure that, our parents, grandparents, our great-grandparents, I'm sure there were stories passed down. Like, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban, but if you look at my grandfather on my mom's side, he's dark. He's a Black Hispanic. So he's told me of stories, of course, when he was enlisted in the, what was it? It was the Army, because he moved here, and he was enlisted and all that. And he told me of, stories, like, they would spit on him, they would go and, like, he'd have to sit in a different part of the restaurant. It's really, it's mind-opening, because I didn't learn that necessarily in school, so it's really shocking that these things aren't necessarily brought up in school, let alone such a long period of time being missed.
And you hit on a really good subject, Amanda, because but after like the late 1910s, like the teens, the late teens, as World War I was ramping up, there was a decline in the celebration of Jubilee Day, Juneteenth, because no one wanted to be othered. They wanted to be considered a part of America. Mm-hmm. And so as we went into World War II, where a lot of our black soldiers went to fight, and then they came home still to segregation, abuse, and everything you said, where they were still less than, that's when they were like, we still have to celebrate us. And so that's when we see Juneteenth pick back up. But it was after they'd served their country and then came home. So a lot of the same stuff they left, they were just like, we've done all of this, we fought again, and nothing has changed. And so that's when we see that rise right before the Civil Rights Movement.
And one thing I would say when it comes to the history, how are we supposed to move forward if we don't know our history? And if we don't know too much, like, we got the basics, but now we need the real meat. Like,
yes. And even within the basics, there's some, it wasn't quite what you think. Let's kind of like make it sound a little better to be presented in school. Mm-hmm. So that's what to these same general people.
Exactly.
So we have to go deep, and I'm very happy that Netflix is such a wide source of information, because a lot of people aren't really into reading books and going to the library, but Netflix is like, don't worry, I'll bring it to you. I got this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we're seeing that, and I love the way that Netflix is not only documenting our history, but hopefully it stays around forever, because it's documenting a lot of things we're going to now, right? How certain laws have also made it so that we're only free-ish, right? And not quite free. Mm-hmm. So we're still seeing that, and something like Netflix can really bring it home to everyone.
And I was just about to ask you, because we're about to wrap it up.
Okay.
The $1 million question: are we really free?
See, this is a deep question. You can't just wrap it up in a small question. As we said earlier, we are technically free. However, there are still some systems in place that will do everything it can to rob us of as much of our freedom as we will allow. So that's why it's great to see that we are not the only ones fighting against those systems, and we're not the only ones being affected by those systems. Mm-hmm. And so we're seeing this movement happen, so that hopefully in 3 years, I'm not even gonna give it 10, 20. In 3 years, we'll have this conversation and we'll say, you know what? 2020 was crazy, but we are officially free. So let's say 3 years that we're somewhere different.
Yes. And I'm gonna end it with this: when they go low, go high.
We go high-ish.
That's our period. We go high. we got to go high. So Valencia family, thank you so much. I know the live was a little crazy, but we did it. This is a good conversation, and this will be a series. So there's so much more to be talked about. And tonight we will have BAHC will have a Black History movie music night based on gospel at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Any more information about that?
And there will also be a talent show with the Black History Month, Black Music Month, and Juneteenth tonight at 7. So be there, be ready to be entertained. There's also another one next Friday as we wrap up our Black Music Month segment. So please join us. Keep the party going. Wear your face mask, guys, if you're going to be out with people, and allow your protest this weekend to be fun. Allow it to be a celebration of life. And then on Monday, we'll get back to doing what we have to do.
And stay safe.
Yes. And guys, just because Juneteenth is only one day, that does not mean you stop celebrating.
You celebrate
it's every day. Yes. We are celebrating every day. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Later. Thank you so much, Professor Danielle. Thank you.